My name's Ray Milidoni and I'm part of the marketing team here at Farming Secrets. I came across Farming Secrets while working in another educational company because one of my core values is just all about education and inspiring others to be the best versions of themselves. And I think that's why we kind of clicked when we first met, Helen, because there was a lot of synergy and there was a lot of, well, me too, and that's what we've done. And this, it was really inspiring to see the technology that Farming Secrets had, embraced in their business. And I was working on similar tools, and it was kind of like blowing my mind that there was a company that had been around for over 10 years and playing around with the tools very earlier than what I was working with them. So that was, always a really good thing. And we kind of just, clicked on the whole land, and I spoke about the land was, we wanted to get organic certified, and not necessarily officially, but we just wanted to know within ourselves that we achieved what we did on the farm all organically. And it's not a working farm, it was just a hobby farm, more for lifestyle. But just seeing how the pastures had changed over the time of just letting them rest and not having that strain on them, and the overlap of like this farming, holistic, natural, organic living, slow living, and then the hustle of business and marketing and email campaigns and promos all kind of like overlap. It was almost like these two worlds colliding together and just created this really nice intersection of, a happy place. I think community and bringing people together, running events has always been something I've enjoyed. I kind of call it the glue. I like being the event organizer and bringing people together on similar topics. And I guess that value of mine was coming through on the farm as well. A lot of the projects that we were working on, we always thought, how can we bring people in and collaborate? So when building something, we wanted to run little workshops, or setting up our beehive system, we wanted to have, open days where people can come and see the hives and experience things. And I guess it also came from like adult education, but also seeing what kids were responding to when we had friends and family come onto the farm, and just the amazement that kids and the younger generation really had no idea where their food was coming from, how it all works. They're constantly glued to devices. I'm glued to a device all the time. It's how I, have made my income over the 10, 15 years. So knowing what I've gone through and how much I hate screen time, having farm time, was that escape. And I use that word escape because it literally is like that. You kind of sometimes want to grab your devices and throw them and just head off for the hills and the fresh air. And it was almost like a little mini respite every weekend or every second weekend, because we lived in the city and commuted to the farm. We didn't live on the farm. And so a lot of the projects were, how do we do it really quickly, and how do we bring people together and co-work and co-learn and co-farm? And that collaboration was a really big word of mine, to just bring everyone together and learn through each other and share stories and kind of make magic happen. I guess for me it was about learning through others. We didn't have the ability to caretake for stock on the property. So we, with the use of technology, Facebook groups, we would put ads up to say that we've got some land available for usage. And we at one point had a lady have her tiny house on the land, and she had a pet dog and started a little, garden. And was living off grid. So it was really interesting to hear her story and learning through her. We had someone with cattle, which were grass fed and grass finished, and basically just, pasture grass their entire life, which our paddocks could provide. We had 1,200 chickens for pasture raised eggs. And we helped that farm kind of get started. We were there into that farming world, and now they've set up their own operation and moved on, but we were part of their journey and that stepping stone. And when we had a couple of our animals on there as well, with alpacas and goats and so forth. So yeah, every weekend there was always a new mystery, a new problem to solve. And I love solving problems, but it also can become quite exhausting when you're working full time and then you go on the weekend and there's dilemmas. And sometimes it was human-made dilemmas. The humans involved sometimes are a little bit more challenging than the livestock and what Mother Nature threw at you. It is a great learning curve, and we've now slowed that down and just setting up our own parts of the farm and learning, taking that learning and applying it to what animals we want to work more with. And then I have this other world of tech and technology and computers and integrating that into the farm as well, seeing how we can monitor the farm remotely and use technology on the farm as well. I guess being in marketing and seeing the depth of value that was on the website was extremely impressive. I remember being kind of blown away going, I've seen businesses that are being set up in today's technology struggle to get what you've been able to achieve at Farming Secrets 10, 15 years ago. And I was just super impressed with the fact that there were membership websites, and I was like, well, membership websites are just starting to trend here in Australia, and there was online courses, and it's like, well, everyone's just starting to get onto online courses. And I remember being super impressed that I felt like this website, while it didn't look like it was of the time, because it was quite dated from a lot of the trends that I've been used to seeing, a lot of the functionality and the features were so ahead of the time. And I still, up until people today, just say, I'm so amazed that from a Farming Secrets, you basically purchased a course or purchased a product and somehow implemented it even at 30% or 40% or 60%, and that set you apart from everyone else. And that from spending more time with Farming Secrets and the team, it's just like the vision and getting the message out was so important that it didn't matter how it happened and which technology was used, and you just embraced every bit of technology to help magnify the impact. And you can tell that, and that's kind of what drew me to work more with Farming Secrets, because for me, what I've learned is it's not about materialistic things, it's not about the dollar you pay, your title, it's about value alignment. And I get goosebumps and quite emotional because when your values align, you're just in a happy place. Like, I think for the first time in my life, I can really say that if you wake up and do what you love every day, it doesn't feel like work. And this doesn't feel like work. We're able to create content, we're able to market to people, to change the way that they're farming, that is putting nutrition back into the soil, that then is taken into the food that we then consume. And if this is what gives us life, it just blows my mind that, there are industries like the medical industry where they don't study nutrition, and that's what keeps us alive. And that to me feels like a broken system. And that's great, because that's opportunity, because I go, well, I need to learn that myself. And so I've taken a big interest in food, and what I eat has changed my life over the last 18 months, which is quite weird when you think about our relationship and me questioning the system and finding what works for my diet needs, and then losing 35, 40 kilos, and seeing that once I became connected with what I ate and, what I ate, that next level, it's become very evident that I've become a lot more healthier. So I'm kind of walking proof that it's really important that we need to be conscious about what we eat and where it came from. And it's refreshing to see that so many more people are now questioning that. I was very big on doing goals and having more like things and objects and places as happiness, but for me, the best thing I did was just get really clear on my whys and my values, and then using that as a filter and going, this person in my life or this company or this product I'm going to buy, does that align with my values? And that becomes really easy to do. And it's not a thing or a place or a dollar amount in a bank account, it's a feeling. And when it feels right, and you just keep following that feeling of joy, I guess, the life takes you in the right path, and you meet the right people, and you become open to the right ideas. And I'm very selective with who I work with these days, because I don't want that toxic mindset that just brings me down, because then all my clients and I get affected by that in a negative way. The 2040 film is definitely something that has, like, I guess if you're looking for a sign of going, am I doing the right thing, that kind of hits you in the face and says everyone now is kind of waking up and realizing that there's a different way, and through experience realize that it's a better way. But for me, I've got this thing where I get involved in things ahead of the time. I've done it with many different businesses I've started, and this is another example. And even with yourself, like, you've been advocating this for 13 plus years, and plus with the your fertilizer business and so forth. Like, it's been there for so long, and you just stuck to it, and that persistence and that constant creating and being curious, and getting all your gear and going and filming something hours and hours of drives away so you could capture that, to then bring it back and put it on a DVD and physically ship it to members all around the world. Like, there's people who don't even do 10% of that and call that hustling and running a business. And here I can see years and years of real deal hustle, and it's all compounding. And now we've taken it into the digital space where that reach of content is so much easier, and creating a learning center virtually where people can come to and solve their problems on the fly is extremely powerful. I remember coming over one day and doing a planning day at HQ and the head office, and just seeing like your paper-based order forms and like the way that you did things. And I was just so blown away that, I remember coming back home and going, oh my God, they like built businesses where they like receive order forms through fax machines, and like they're using Infusionsoft and doing all this email marketing stuff and sending stuff to companies overseas that will print the DVDs and ship them. I'm like, this company is embracing technology more than some of the companies that are starting today. And that's kind of what got me super excited, because I love marketing and automation and, working smarter, not harder. And you've been doing that for years. And I wanted to be part of that next chapter and bringing it into the digital space, to the next digital space, and making it easier with farmers learning while they're in their tractor, and mobile-friendly websites, and the club website being refreshed and having access to more of the content. And so much content that you've created, got captured and never published, just blows my mind. There's, so many secrets that still haven't been released yet that we have in the archives. And, it fuels me that the quicker we get stuff done, the more of that content we get to release and share. And I say gift to the community, like it's there that they can keep watching and learning and sharing and creating moments with their family to learn the future of farming. One thing I just want to share as well is that, people don't know what they don't know. And this is one of the dilemmas with this kind of industry, is that no one wakes up one morning and says, I just want to farm more naturally. And maybe something happens that does cause that, but more so people are looking for a problem, and there's just so much more quick fixes and band-aid solutions out there. So when they're looking for a problem, and it's even with our health and our body, I've got a headache, take a tablet, masks the pain, but no one really questions like what's the root cause of that pain. And then years and years go on, and then they realize that there's something more serious there, and then it's too late. And I think one of the things that really is refreshing for me is seeing the similarities to soil health and fertility, and how much research is now being done about gut health and the big link between that, and also the research that's now linking gut to the brain, and some mental health issues are now kind of maybe more of an eating issue and a gut issue rather than a mental. And I'm no doctor, and I don't know the science behind it, but I'm definitely reading a lot more research and papers where people are putting the gut health as something a lot more important. And I don't believe in these quick fixes of kombucha tea and things like that. It's more about just eating high quality food and feeding your gut the right food. So it's a prebiotic, not a probiotic. And just, that questioning the system and going back to basics. Like, this is kind of the way that things always work. Like, the diet that I followed that helped me reduce a lot of my weight was kind of just going, I see the science behind it. And what's even more impressive is this is how we used to eat back in the day. And then commercialism happened, and we created products that made profit, and everything changed. And so it was all going back to basics. And now I'm seeing the same thing happen with soil. So if you just mimic what Mother Nature does and did for a lot of time, it just all works. And then humans come in and complicate everything and make it a big, complicated ordeal because there's profits to be made, and then it just gets broken. And now everyone's going, well, how about we just keep it simpler and bring it back to the way it used to be? And just questioning who's doing the advice and the research. Of course, a research on the benefits of sugar funded by a big sugar company is going to find all the positive results. And so just really questioning like what's not being said, but who's saying it. And from a marketing point of view, I always kind of I kind of just giggle to myself that this is kind of how marketing works, and I just need to be self-aware of it. you know, maybe, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 30, 40 years ago, you would see adverts on billboards and in papers where doctors would actually recommend smoking to reduce stress. And you can Google this, like Google, you know, smoking adverts, and it says more doctors recommend Camels, which was a brand of cigarettes. But then we fast forward and we go, wow, they were wrong. You know, and I just sit here and be curious and go, well, what else are we wrong about? So I just, you know, kind of leave you with that thought in going, just because someone who maybe has an authority is giving you advice, maybe they happen just to have the wrong advice, but they don't know that. They're just giving the best advice that they know at that time. And then years later, we realize that it's actually quite the opposite. And, you know, so yeah, just really question who's saying what.